Dear friends, our lives feel so very real and large to us that it can be very difficult to imagine being part of anything bigger than ourselves. Our daily needs and struggles can feel overwhelming, and the call to think about, let alone act in service of anything beyond our daily survival, can feel like more than we can imagine and manage. When we couple this with a constant call from motivational gurus to make ourselves the center of our own universes, we may begin to think that the solution to our problems is to become more self-centered, not less. But the example that is set for us by the great heroes of our faith, not least John the Baptizer, who is the focus of this week's readings, is that life is not found by focusing on ourselves, but by giving ourselves for the sake of others. When we allow our hearts and desires to be captured by God's vision of a world of love and justice, and when we allow this vision to lead us beyond ourselves into a much bigger world, we then discover a new sense of abundance, purpose, and meaning to our lives. Friends, it is not self-protection, but self-giving that opens us to the best possible human life. The challenge is for us to really, really believe this. This week, we allow John the Baptizer to teach us to focus not on ourselves, but on God's mission, and to find life there. You see, the Pharisees who had been sent to question John wanted a simple answer that would clarify his identity so they could work out how to respond. But John refused to be distracted by questions that focused attention on him. He never lost sight of the fact that his ministry was simply a preparation for the more important ministry of Jesus that would follow. Even when he was asked why he felt he had the right to baptize, he simply redirected attention to the one who would come after him. There are so many voices in our world telling us that our first priority should be ourselves. We are constantly trained to focus on our own pleasure, or our own security, or our own health, or beauty. The implied promise is that if we put ourselves first, we will find our greatest happiness and fulfillment. Yet, my friends, our generation is one of the least fulfilled and the most miserable in history. The idea of giving ourselves for something bigger than ourselves has largely become lost, but with it, we have lost our souls and any real sense of meaning in our lives. John's story, my friends, reminds us that abundant life is found not when we focus on ourselves, but when we give ourselves to something bigger, and when we use our lives as signposts to point beyond ourselves to God's reign of love and justice. How can you live as a signpost that points beyond your own concerns and dreams to those of Christ this week? Perhaps the biggest shift that most of us need to make in order to become signposts for God's reign is to use our energy more for the sake of others than for ourselves. It is tempting, friends, to make our lives about our own goals and desires. But when we give our lives in service of others, we not only contribute to the healing of our world, we also find the richest, most fulfilling life possible. This week, find one way that you can give yourself for others and make a commitment to practice this as a daily discipline. My prayer for all of us this week is that our lives will not be about our own dreams and desires primarily, but about that of God. Amen.